Hello, everybody. We are back with the Callin' It podcast, NFL Roundup. This is week 11, believe it or not. We've been off for 2 weeks. Some glitches in the system, whatever. But we are back. We're ready to break down a fantastic week of NFL football. Alex Lebowitz, as always, joins me, my co-host, Lebowitz. It's good to be – look, we talk football on a regular basis, but it's good to be doing the Roundup again.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite parts of the week, and we had a decent week, especially that 1 o'clock slate. There were a couple of games that came down to the wire. Connor Barth not doing a great job for the Barth namesake, but still some good games besides that. A lot of games that went to overtime, and teams that are kind of on runs that you got to talk about, and that kind of they're starting to make noise right now. So a decent amount to talk about. I think when you're at week 11, though, you kind of know where things are at, which teams are legit contenders, which aren't. And I think this week just solidified that. The only game that stuck out to me really was the Vikings-Rams game, which obviously we'll get to.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to all the games. I just want to remind everybody as we go, if you have any questions, comments, whatever for us, feel free to put them over there in that chat to the left here on YouTube Live. And we'll kind of let you guys in as we go here. And, of course, the game everybody wants to talk about, Patriots and Raiders, that just finished up. Patriots with the win in Mexico City, 33-8. And we'll get into this more tomorrow on the show if you just want to hit on one quick point. Lebowitz, mine, Tom Brady, the first quarterback with a 300-yard game in 3 different countries.
Yeah, that's a nice little tidbit. I'll go off of that. I think Tom Brady today has solidified the fact that he is the clear front runner for the MVP. I know that single season accolades are kind of irrelevant in the NFL. At least a lot of people like to make that like to have that take. But he's just been unbelievable, and the Patriots in general just keep playing more and more confidently as the season goes on.
All right, so we'll start with another 4 o'clock game here. The Bengals and the Broncos, that just went final as well. Brock Osweiler couldn't drive down the field. He had a chance with a couple minutes to go. Bengals take this one 20-17. Bengals move to 4-6. Broncos fall to 3-7. The one takeaway from this, and earlier in the year was tough because we had to go in depth with every game. Now we kind of know who matters, who doesn't. These are 2 teams that don't matter. But what is Brock Osweiler still doing starting for the Broncos? They need to move on. They need to figure out if they can still ride with Trevor Siemian, even if Paxton Lynch is that next guy. I know he's a little banged up, but get somebody else in there. You know Brock Osweiler's not the future. Start figuring it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's pick your poison at this point. They don't really have any good option. And I don't think Paxton Lynch is a guy that they look at as a future option. So they're just waiting the season out. This is just the Broncos looking at this defensive core deteriorating and looking at their quarterback situation on top of that and just trying to wait out this season and regather. But right now, obviously, Brock Osweiler isn't the answer. I don't think anyone else in that quarterback group is, though.
And we've got the Lions and the Bears. Lions take this one 27-24. Matt Stafford, a couple of touchdowns. Lions are 6-4. Bears are 3-7. We'll get to the Packers in a little bit. They lost today, but do the Lions, and again, it's the Bears, but the Lions are starting to convince me they may have a chance here to catch the Vikings late.
Maybe. I don't think so, though. I think the Vikings are just playing way better football right now, and especially after today's win, which obviously we'll get to, but I don't think so. I think the Lions are what they are what they have in the past, like 3, 4, 5 years. They're decent, maybe slightly above average, but they're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs, and they're going to beat teams like the Bears routinely. But that's not something to dig too deep in, I think.
Moving on, the Browns almost got theirs. The Jaguars really did not play the offensive game we've all become accustomed to. Jags take this one late, 19-7. We had our first snow game. As far as I don't know if I missed one, but it was snowing in this one. This just shows me, I know the Jaguars are 7-3. The AFC South sucks. This reminds me of the Jaguars team from 10 years ago, 2007, that I think it was still Garrard. It may have been Leftwich at this point. But the Jaguars rolled into a game in 2007 into New England against the Patriots, and people thought, look, maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of the Jaguars turning it around. They got their ass beat by the Patriots in the game. That was the Tom Brady fake over-the-head snap, direct snap to the running back touchdown. No, Brady faked the high snap, turned around, fired it to Welker back in the end zone. Anyway, the Jaguars were relevant for the next 9 years, and here they are at 7-3, but I'm not sold at all on this Jacksonville team. I think they'll get in. I think they are a textbook one and done.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who have they really? They beat the Steelers pretty handily earlier in the season. Besides that, do they really have a win that sticks out that you look at like, okay, wow, this team's the real deal? No, I think they have a lot of good pieces on both sides of the ball, but they're not very well coached, and their quarterback position is pretty mediocre at best. It's just benefiting from a down year, not only the NFL but in their division. On top of that,
We got a couple questions here from Rob. We'll fit those on before we move to the next game. Hugh Jackson. So the Lebowitz, I don't know if you can even see the questions on this. Jim Harbaugh would be a good replacement for John Fox. Yeah, but I don't think Harbaugh is going anywhere. Jim's the one at Michigan, right?
Yeah, Jim's at Michigan. John's
Yeah, I don't
at
think he's going anywhere. Does Hugh Jackson survive the season? Yeah, because there's no point in them making a coaching change at this point. He will be a casualty of Black Monday, which is the day after the final NFL game. He will be the first Black Monday casualty, in my opinion.
Yeah, him and like Ben McAdoo will be the two guys. I don't see the Ravens moving away from Harbaugh yet. He's an all right coach. You know, they don't have a great team. He doesn't have a lot of talent to work with, but who else are you going to really get that's going to turn things around there? So Hugh Jackson out, but he's staying throughout the rest of the season. Why get rid of him at this point?
Yeah, it's just turmoil you don't need. Moving on, AFC NFC matchup at Lambeau. The Ravens shut out the Packers 23-0. The Pack falls to 5-5. The Ravens move up to 5-5, and I think any hope the Packers had for some miraculous run without Aaron Rodgers is gone at this point. The Ravens, though, they've snuck their way back in after a bad start, and they've played 6 of their 10 games on the road, so they're going to have a lot of home games here coming up down the stretch, and this is a team that could make a late push, and you always got to be the Ravens. Look, I don't think Joe Flacco is a good quarterback. I don't really like what they have there, but that's always a team when you get into December, and if they make it to January, can give people headaches. So not good news for the rest of the AFC that the Ravens are maybe waking up a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the standings right now. The other wild card team that they'd be battling with, there's the Titans and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have to play the Patriots twice. They're obviously on a downfall. The Ravens, like realistically, will probably sneak into the playoffs. Doesn't mean much. They beat a banged up Packers team, which just shows you how valuable Aaron Rodgers is and maybe even how mediocre of a coach McCarthy is out there. So the Ravens, it's the theme of the show, theme of the year. Down here in the NFL, they're benefiting.
Down to Florida. This was the game, remember, in week 1 that got canceled with the hurricane. So these two teams in the middle of 16 games in a row, the Buccaneers and the Dolphins. The Bucs take this one 30-20. If you didn't watch it, the Buccaneers got a late field goal to go 30-20. There was one kickoff, and that was going to be the last play of the game. The Dolphins went to the lateral play. They fumbled the ball. The Buccaneers recovered in the end zone for a late touchdown. And that touchdown was the over-under was 44 points. It pushed it from 43 up to 49 and then to 50 with the extra point. So you want to, both these teams aren't going anywhere, but you want to talk about bad beats. Anybody who had, we'll say, hot dogs on this game, and anybody who had doll hairs on this game, maybe pulling their hair out after that ending.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I don't like to gamble, especially on the over-under, because you just never know when there's going to be this garbage time touchdown that just completely ruins it. You're out $100. It sucks. But yeah, that's exactly why you don't bet on games like that. There's really not much to talk about in this game. Battle of the backups, Jay Cutler getting hurt. Week, you're asking yourself, why would they pay $10 million for Jay Cutler? Matt Moore came in, and he's honestly a better alternative at this point.
Oh, so that is one of the most understated points in the NFL this year, and in the last couple of years, that Matt Moore is actually a decent quarterback. Nobody wants to recognize that.
Absolutely.
So I thought that may have been our game of the week. I'm looking down the schedule. I don't want to jump to the game of the week too quick because I think we have some better, given that ending, I think we have some better options. This is certainly not a game I want to gloss over. This was a playoff preview in Minnesota, the Vikings and the Rams. The Rams scored first, the Vikings then 24 unanswered points. They held that potent Rams offense quiet. Vikes look real good. I thought the Rams were going to be on the opposite end of this. I thought the Rams were legit, and not saying they aren't. They played a good team in Minnesota, but Case Keenum is rolling with it. I think he's earned that starting job. He's been playing excellent. That offense is clicking. Stephon Diggs continues to be a threat. I really hope we get to see these two teams again because the score is a little lopsided, but it was a great football game.
Yeah, absolutely. I like there was a take that Tony Maserati had this week of Felger and Maz with the Celtics saying that the Golden State game they could use they could use that a loss in that game just as kind of a reality check. I look at the Rams as a team that's young. They've had a lot of success lately. Obviously, they lost to the Seahawks not too long ago, but this is a game coming towards the end of the season where you expect them to fight for that win, if not win the game, even though they're on the road. They didn't happen now. What is it, week 12, week 11? It's not such a bad thing. I think it's well timed, if anything. And if you play this team later on the playoffs, which I think a lot of us are hoping for, a great grudge match, which the NFL could definitely use.
Rams fall to 7-3. Vikings move to 8-2. Everybody is chasing the one-loss Eagles. We'll get to them in a little bit here. The Saints became the first team after losing their first two games to win 8 in a row. The Saints looking a little like the Celtics. 34-31. They need overtime, but they beat the Redskins. A late drive from Drew Brees. That backfield, Kamara, Ingram has been outstanding. And look, we saw the Patriots play the Saints. They didn't look real then. I don't know what it is because they still look like the same team that played the Patriots. They're just executing better. And when you put Drew Brees at the helm and you go on this sort of destiny run the Saints are going on, you start talking about a team that could really do some damage. And they are now being talked about after losing their first two games as being a team that is right there with the Eagles, right there with the Vikings, right there with the Rams. I mean, there are people who have the Saints as their NFC favorite, and a lot of that has to do with Drew Brees. I don't think I'm there yet. That team still has some holes. The Redskins were able to march up and down the field on them. This was more the Redskins' defense costing them the game than the Saints winning it. But I continue to be impressed with the way New Orleans has turned this thing around after the first month of the season. Because even those first two wins they got after starting 0-2 weren't great, convincing wins.
Yeah, you cut out there a little bit, so I'm sorry if I repeat any point, but it's impressive. It's an impressive run that they have going right now. Last loss, I think you mentioned that, to the Patriots back in week 2. And ever since then, they've been winning, but yeah, they haven't really been these statement victories. They're kind of the Saints wins. They're a good team, and they win more games than they lose. And this year they're playing well, and today they showed it. They're playing well down the stretch. It's a good win. They're probably one of the favorites in the NFC, but I'm not looking at them as the favorite. I think there's probably 2 or 3 teams that I'd pick over them in the NFC right now.
Big Blue got their first home win of the year. They take down the Chiefs in overtime, 12-9. Giants move to 2-8. Chiefs fall to 6-4 after starting 5-0. And I told everybody this at the beginning of the year. Despite how good the Chiefs looked against the Patriots, they were not for real. And here we go. The Chiefs are stumbling. And I don't want to say they're going to miss the playoffs because the AFC West sucks. We saw what the Raiders are today. That's their closest competition. But I think we saw realistically what the Chiefs are, but this is what they are. There's a reason they drafted Pat Mahomes. There's a reason people were so shocked when they beat the Patriots. There's a reason people were so shocked when they started 5-0, and it's nice to see this team come back down to earth.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, this is exactly why none of us took him seriously. It's Alex Smith just coming back to reality, or down to earth, as you say. And this was a guy who was an MVP candidate through week 6. He's not playing like that anymore. They're kind of showing their true colors, and they lost to a Giants team which stinks. And it was just because of their offense. And obviously, holding the Giants to only 12 points, it wasn't a horrible defensive effort. It was the guy under center who hasn't been able to make that jump. He's a game manager. He does well. He's reliable. He's not a Super Bowl quarterback, and this year he's proven what his real legacy will be once he's done.
And this one also showed me how far you look at the Patriots, Raiders, stay, and Chiefs, Giants. You see just how far the Patriots, specifically defensively, have come since week 1 because they were making plays today. They did not make in that game against the Chiefs. Rob weighing in on YouTube says 8-8 win the AFC West. I think you're right. I think the Chiefs do win that division at 8-8. We may see our second 7-9 division winner this year.
Yeah, hopefully an 11-5 team doesn't suffer.
Exactly, but if you think about it, and they won't in the AFC, but if the Chiefs win 3 more games, 2 more games, that would give them they won't win 7. They'll win more than 7 games. I'm a week behind on that. All right, I nominate this for our game of the week, and we only have 2 left. Here. The Texans and the Cardinals, 2 teams that probably could have been a little better. Obviously, no Deshaun Watson. Texans take this one 31-21. Both teams are now at 4-6. Larry Fitzgerald, though, 9 catches, 91 yards. He's still getting it done, although it seems to be all for naught. This game.
Yeah, there's really nothing really to say about it. Two teams that lost their quarterbacks, not really contenders. Just meh.
The last final before we move on to Sunday Night Football. This one, there's a lot of fun. We may touch on this on the show tomorrow again. You can catch the call. You know what game I can see you laughing. You know what game's coming.
I know exactly what game you're talking about. This is great. Bills, Chargers.
That's what you're killing my suspense here. We might talk about this one. We'll see how it goes tomorrow on the Callin It podcast. You can check us out on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Callin It Podcast, and we're on the CLNS Media app as well. You can download that for your smartphone. The Chargers beat the Bills 54-24. Thanks to 5. It ended up being 5, right? Because I had to check out. I was working the second half of the Patriots game. Did it stay at 5? Okay.
Six completions to Bills, 5 to Chargers.
Oh, that's Peyton Manning in the snow against the Patriots in the playoffs numbers. Nathan Peterman, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, throws 5 interceptions. At least one was a pick six, right? Just one?
I believe so.
So just 20% were pick sixes. But the Bills benching Tyrod Taylor after their defense lays an egg. They bench Tyrod Taylor because that makes sense. Go to this kid who, look, I do think has some upside, and unfortunately, this is probably going to blackball him from the NFL from here on out. I don't think there's any coming back from this. It's a shame. I thought he had some potential, but they started him against a good defense. The offensive line gave him no help. A couple of those picks were not his fault. And then Tyrod came in and kind of cleaned things up there at the end. The Bills are 5-5, but 1-4 on the road. Chargers are 4-6, 2-3 at home. What the hell is going on in Buffalo? Tyrod Taylor is the best quarterback they've had since Bledsoe. I make this point every freaking week, and they want to throw it down the drain. I just want one Bills fan, Nick Karski, if you're watching, Jesse Feldman, if you're watching, just please tweet that you miss Jeff Toole. It would make my week if I see a Bills fan tell me they miss Jeff Toole, because I miss Jeff Toole. All right. And he would do better than Nathan Peterman. The kid clearly wasn't ready. They didn't get him ready in time. They benched Taylor late in the week. If you're going to do this, do it on Monday. Do it Sunday night. Don't do it. What was it? Thursday they benched him? Wednesday or Thursday? That's not enough time for Peterman to get ready. And just a train wreck. Taylor is a legitimate NFL quarterback. Build a team around him. Stop with this nonsense. They think that they can do all these Don-like moves to catch the Patriots. Starting a rookie quarterback on short notice who's not ready is not a Don move to beat the Patriots. It's a Bills move to stay the Bills.
Yeah, couldn't have said better. Here, the thing is, you're replacing a quarterback who's above average. In this league, he's probably an above average quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
It's breaking news when you decide to bench him, and you bench him for a guy you had just drafted in the late rounds the previous year. You better hope that he's going to be ready, or you better be sure that he's going to be ready. This guy clearly wasn't, and to throw him out there against a Los Angeles Chargers is going to take some.
I think I said San Diego too at one point. See,
the Los Angeles Chargers pass rush, they have a pretty good pass rush. You're throwing them out to the wolves, so. It's just a bad coaching move. You don't do something like that unless you're 100% sure it's going to be the better alternative. It wasn't. That was as bad as it could have gone, and now you got to put the guy you just benched back in the game the very week that you benched him. So just a train wreck of an organization, and they're going to miss the playoffs again this season after starting the year looking like a team that was challenging for the AFC East. Not seriously, but they were at one point.
No, they were in the conversation. Obviously not anymore. So that's it for the games that happened. And again, we didn't talk too much about the Patriots. You can get our Patriots recap tomorrow on the Callin It podcast. Subscribe on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Callin It Podcast. You can get it on the CLNS Media app, however you so choose. We just hope you listen. A couple of previews, though. First off, tonight, this is going to be an outstanding one. The Cowboys and the Eagles in Dallas. I know some people are down on the Cowboys. They don't have Zeke. They haven't played well. They're 5-4. The Eagles are 8-1. They look like world beaters. But when you get into divisional football, it's in Dallas. I think we're in for a close one tonight. I'm not going to go as far as picking the Cowboys, but it wouldn't shock. We are going to really find out what the Eagles are. The Eagles played just one game in the first half of their schedule. They started 7-1. In the first half of their schedule against a team that was over 500, that was the Chiefs. They lost that game, and now we see what the Chiefs are. They just lost to the Giants. They have a real tough test here in the second half. They've got the Cowboys twice. They've got the Rams. I believe they've got the Saints here. The back end of their schedule is loaded with playoff teams. It starts tonight. Not that Dallas is necessarily going to make the playoffs. This is a playoff caliber team. This is a team that was good last year. They are missing their best offensive weapon, but Dez, I believe, is playing tonight. They still have Dak. They still have Witten. I'm watching with a lot of interest tonight. The rare, good matchup, primetime NFL game. There's hype for this one. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I mean, this isn't a game. This is where you're looking at one team that's been excellent this season, and a team that's underperformed. These are two talented divisional. Expect a close one. Not only that, you have two young quarterbacks who are going to be at the helm of the league for the next decade. So there's those implications, and it's the start. It's the continuation of what's probably going to be a lengthy rivalry between these two quarterbacks, between these two core rosters. It's going to be fun to watch, and I want to see how this Eagles team looks in prime time. If they're going to continue to win games and be that NFC favorite. I don't know. This could be a team where they're either exposed or there's some validation there. It's going to be fun to watch.
And one more game to preview Monday night. We've got 2nd and 2 versus 28-3. The Falcons will visit the Seahawks. Both of these teams, Falcons 5-4, Seahawks 6-3, but the Seahawks looking up at the Rams. Both of these teams need a win to stay relevant in the NFC playoff hunt. And that, again, two games. I'll even say we'll throw in Thursday Night Football. Steelers-Titans. It ended up being a blowout, but it looked going in like it was going to be competitive. We have 3 good primetime matchups this week. Eagles, Cowboys, Titans, Steelers, and Falcons, Seahawks. I'm interested in this game tomorrow night. I think the Seahawks probably have a little more breathing room with the one extra win. And given the way, but both are looking up at maybe two of the best teams in the NFC. Falcons looking up at the Steelers, Seahawks looking up at the Rams. Whoever loses tomorrow night probably isn't eliminated, but it's a huge game for both of these teams.
Yeah, this is probably the best pair of primetime games we've had this season. And it's all NFC, but it's going to be a great one because every single team is elite in talent, no matter which way you look at it. And every team, with the exception of really the Eagles, is desperate to win and to keep winning because they're not solidified playoff teams right now. So it's going to be a good one, and I'm sure it won't disappoint. They're all evenly contested or divisional matchups, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. And tonight, I'm expecting probably the Eagles to win tomorrow. It's in Seattle, so I'm thinking the Seahawks are probably going to come out on top in that one.
Yeah, I've you know what? Screw it. I'll pick the Cowboys. I'm going to go Cowboys and Seahawks for these 2 games. I like the upset tonight. If you want to hear me eat my words on that tomorrow, check out the Callin podcast. We generally post around 3 o'clock. You can check that on the CLNS Media mobile app, clnsmedia.com. We have our own Twitter feed at Callin Podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes as well. So we hope you'll check that out. And until then, just follow us on Twitter for updates. We'll definitely be talking Celtics tomorrow. Big victory Monday for the Celtics. Big victory Monday for the Patriots. The Bruins might have even snuck in a little victory Monday there as well. We'll get to all that tomorrow. So until then, he's Alex Lebitz. I'm Alex Barth. This has been the Callin NFL Roundup. We will talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy Sunday Night Football tonight. Goodbye, everybody.